This is Dan Fluchow, broker owner of Lake Place Gallery of Homes in Pine River, Minnesota. And today we are talking about home inspections. We're talking. We have Kyle Holm here with Home Team Inspections.
Thank you, Dan. Again, my name is Kyle Holm. I'm the owner of Home Team Inspection Service. I'm a residential home inspector. I've been a home inspector here in central Minnesota for 6 years, and I've inspected over 2,500 homes, so it's great to be here with you this morning.
Wow. Yeah, thank you. Can you explain what you look for in a foundation inspection?
Sure, so basically there's going to be three types of foundations. It's either going to be a concrete slab, it's going to be a basement, or a crawl space, or a combination of all three. It just depends on how many additions on the home and things like that. The main things, let's face it, it all starts with the foundation. If there is structural damage to the foundation or major movement of the foundation walls, you're going to have unlevel floor conditions, you can have cracks in walls and ceilings, and the condition can worsen over time if repairs aren't made. So some of the telltale signs, let's use a basement for an example. Sometimes I'll go into a basement and the walls will be bowing inward. Now you would think that that would be very obvious to buyers as they initially walk through a house, but sometimes it's not obvious. Sometimes the current owner will have, let's say, a framed wall inside and it looks level. But then if you look at the basement windows at the top, they'll be actually leaning inward. If you look at the framed wall, it's straight, but the windows themselves will be leaning inward. So in other words, the owners at some point decided to add a framed wall to make it level, but the foundation wall still bowed inward. And what we can't see is, was there actually a bracing system or anchors installed in that wall to hold it from getting worse? So that would be a flag to me to say, I see a bowed wall condition here happening. We don't know what's behind the wall exactly or how bad the cracks are, but this may need to be, you need to explore this further with the current owner to explain, when was this wall put in? Are they aware of any major cracks in that wall? Another example would be a crawl space. So I'm in a crawl space sometimes, and let's say I'll be in there, and the older homes, the stone and mortar foundations, a lot of crawl spaces in the older homes are only, let's say, 3 feet height total to look at. And sometimes I'll get in there and the stone and mortar wall will be completely cracked and separating. Sometimes the wall will be coming inward. Sometimes there'll be erosion underneath that wall, and there'll be actually dirt erosion channels where water has been coming under the foundation wall, and the foundation is failing at that point. I mean, it's not supported by the ground. So either one of those scenarios, it's an expensive repair to make, and sometimes it's just simply a matter that the owner hasn't been down in the crawl space, and they're not aware of it. Or when they bought it, it wasn't disclosed because the previous owner didn't know about it. Mm-hmm. So again, it's just one of those areas that most people aren't going to look at, and that's when a professional home inspector should go in and look at it. The last example would be a concrete slab foundation. So a couple things can happen with concrete slab. If the ground isn't compacted properly before they pour the concrete, it can settle. And then if you have in-floor heating tubes for in-floor heat, if the foundation settles enough and you get a significant crack in it, sometimes those pipes will get stressed and can start leaking because it's just too significant of a crack. It's not very common, but then here's a scenario. One client I remember one time said the whole living room and floor was covered with carpet. And when I walked through there, it was only a 1-year-old home, patio home. And I could feel this crack that was down about an inch all the way across the living room floor. So of course I'm going to comment on that there's been settlement to this foundation floor. When she walked in, the first question she asked is, Kyle, would we have any problems putting in hardwood floors from the kitchen all the way across to the living room? And I said, well, come over here and I want you to look at this area with me. Mm-hmm. I said, you can feel this crack under this concrete, right? She goes, oh my gosh, what are we going to do about that? I said, it's not an easy fix. They can try to level it, I don't know. You're going to have to get a concrete company in here, foundation company, to come in and look at it. They're going to have to pull the carpet up so you can fully evaluate this. But that was just an example of, they were very excited about this brand new home they were buying. It was only 1 year old and the foundation had already cracked.
Wow.
So, she said, I wouldn't have noticed this if you wouldn't have pointed it out. So there you go. There's just a couple of examples for you.
Yeah. And those are very important the buyer know, as you mentioned, those can be very costly repairs, if they can even be done without doing demo work and
Correct.
to a home. So yeah, thank you.